Good morning, everybody. It's December 21st, 2017, about 8:30 in the morning. Normally I would be at work, but I'm not today. Everybody in my house has gotten sick. It started with the baby, had RSV. We took her to the doctor's last Saturday. Today's Thursday. And the nurse practitioner at the doctor's office didn't hear anything in her lungs. Test came back negative for RSV. Okay, she's got a cold. Well, her fever got up to 105, so we took her to the ER um, Monday night, and she had RSV, tested positive for RSV, which RSV stands for virus. And apparently it's really bad for little people and for old people. Now, in between people, flu-like symptoms, I guess. So, anyway, we've been doing battle with that for 5 days. I don't know. It's a blur. And I don't know if you can tell, but there's a little weariness going on right here. So I've been struggling with that. That's why you haven't seen much of me lately. Originally, it was the baby was sick, and then over the weekend, Miss Harmony got sick as well. So I have not been to work at all this week because when baby's sick and mama's sick, there's nobody to take care of them. So then the oldest girl kid, she got sick. She came walking out of her bedroom like, I think I'm gonna put. So we played the cleanup puke game at 1:39 a.m. Monday, and boy kid's been doing great. So finally today, Miss Harmony and the baby are out of the house. Harmony went back to work. The baby went back to daycare. Both of the older kids, boy kid and girl kid, are at school today. But boy kid, I noticed, was a little, I feel fine this morning. So we'll see what happens with him. Me, on the other hand, I'm kind of caught in between. I could go to work today and make something happen if I had to, or I could just stay at home and be miserable by myself and not get any of my people sick. So, feeling a little weak, feeling definitely tired, and gosh, there's a railroad spike going from here right down through here, right into the top of my mouth. Like, so that's cool. I think I put about 62 gallons of thieves oil on me in the last few days. And doxycycline and vitamin C and zinc and magnesium and stress away and lavender and blah, blah, blah. I've taken it all. So, you'll see it. Made in the USA. This is old Morris Power shirt. Back from when I used to climb poles and put up towers and put up them big fans, as they say in West Texas and Oklahoma, wind turbines. Working with these, a little bit of that, working with a little bit of that. So, although today that is pretty much useless, it'd be hard pressed to shell a pecan right now. I'm weak. But anyway, so there's that, and then I've got a bit of an internal struggle going on for the. I'm dealing with kind of a brotherhood versus business thing right now, and it's uncomfortable. It's just uncomfortable. I think it'll be okay, but it's uncomfortable, and we as humans like to be comfortable. It's much easier to be comfortable than uncomfortable, and we tend to shy away from things that are uncomfortable. And I'm trying to consistently remind myself that while it is good to be engaged in business with brothers, business is business, and you have to be able to kind of separate the two at times. Otherwise, things get a little messy and murky, and I may have let things get a little too messy and murky. And so now, as an afterthought, trying to put things back to rights is a little bit more uncomfortable than it should be. And I'm talking about this whole fire situation. Miss Harmony and I were general contractors before we came to Vine and Branches. And Vine and Branches was a godsend to us because we found out that Harmony had and has a genetic heart defect, and she cannot be up and around on her feet, moving around. She has what's called POTS, which is postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, which is a bunch of $50 words for saying that she has a very high pulse rate and a very low blood pressure, and her heart cannot oxygenate the rest of her body well enough. If she moves around too much, she gets lightheaded and she can fall over. And then if she overexerts herself, she basically gets bedridden. So she was bedridden about 3 years ago, and I was like, okay, I'm scared. You need to go to the hospital. We need to take you to the doctor. We need to fix you. And in fact, she was driving herself to the hospital because I was at work, and she passed out in her car and was just able to get over the side of the road. So while I'm working, I get a phone call from our pastor, and which is rare because it's like 11 a.m., right? And I look at my phone. I'm like, I'll call him back on lunch, right? Probably made somebody else in the congregation mad again, running around with tattoos and a beard speaking truth sometimes rubs people the wrong way. But so that's what's going through my mind, right? Well, I immediately get another phone call from the pastor, and I'm like, forget it. I'll take it. We'll see what's up. And he's like, hey, me and my wife, we're over here on the side of the road. We found Harmony in her car, passed out, blah, blah, blah. So I freak out, right? They get her to the hospital. I get to the hospital, the whole nine, get her looked at, and for weeks we go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. What's going on with my woman? Fix my woman. Well, it turns out you can't. It's lifestyle choices, right? You play the hand you're dealt. So that kind of was the beginning of the end of our general contracting days because of how integral to the business Harmony was. And now Harmony was out of commission. So praying to God saying, hey, I need something to happen because I'm going to have to feed these little people that are running around my house and, pay the electric bill and things like that. So I get a phone call from Danny at Vine and Branches, who was an elder at my church. It's like, hey, can we have lunch? And I'm thinking, great, now who did I piss off? First it's the pastor calling, now it's the elders calling. I'm like, yeah, we can have lunch. Sure. So we go have lunch, and he says, I'm looking to expand my business, and everybody tells me I need to hire you. So he told me what he was thinking, and the more he was talking, I said, you don't need me. Guys like me are a dime a dozen. What you need is Harmony. She has all this design experience, all this construction experience. She's sold cabinetry before. She's a better trim carpenter than I am. Blah, blah, blah. She's one in a million. You need her, not me. There's plenty of guys like me, right? So he said, do I have permission to take your wife out to lunch? Which, that's a good question. And it was good for him to ask that question. And I respected him very much for asking that question. And so, I'm sorry, there's a swing out here on the tree, a little pink swing that the squirrel, the baby, likes to swing in, and it keeps moving in the breeze. And my peripheral vision, I keep seeing it moving, and I'm like, getting ready to knife hand something, but it's just a baby swing. So anyway, he takes her to lunch. They talk. He calls us back about a week later, and he says, I want to extend an offer to both of you to both come on board. So we did. And lifestyle changes, income changes, the whole nine. And Vine and Branches was an answer to prayer for us because we had a place to land and a way to feed our family and pay our bills and all of that. One of the things that was hard to swallow was kind of this idea of our contracting company was what we were trying to build it into was a legacy business for our children that as they grew up, they would have something to grow into. And we could teach them a trade and help them learn to use this in conjunction with this and this so that they could make money and provide for themselves and provide for us when we got old and useless and tired and hurt and, have something to pass on, kind of pay it forward. And so that was a huge wound to the heart when that business went away, when we had to put that up on the shelf because I want to, number one, I want my kids to work. I want them to understand what splinters feel like and blisters and calluses and a sore back and shoulders that are tense and, to earn some money. To earn it, not to be given it, but to earn it. And then should they choose to pick that up and run with it when they got old enough, that was the idea behind what we were doing. And so to have that go away, that hurt. And so now what I'm kind of struggling with after this fire at Vine and Branches is a lot of my self-identity had come to be tied up in Vine and Branches. A lot of my tools, thousands of dollars worth of tools. I mean, thousands. Put a nice down payment on a nice property just for what those tools cost, right? And they're gone. And God will make all that right in time. It's the remembering of that and the holding on to that I find challenging right now. And that's just the God's honest truth. It's the trying to be stoic and be centered in Him right now that I'm like, I know you're up there. I know you love us and I know you care. And I know this is all part of a bigger plan. But right now I'm freaking out a little bit because all my stuff is gone. And I guess looking at it from, an alternate angle, he's just kicking out crutches, right? It's one less thing you have to stand on. You're that much more dependent on me, says Yahweh. And it's scary, dude. Holy crap, is it scary? Because I am a grab things and make them happen. And I have nothing to grab. There's nothing that I can make happen. And that is what's making me all flustered. I'm babbling. I'm delirious. I'm sick. But I hope that y'all can take something from this. It's hard sometimes to stay centered in the truth of God's love and to hold on to that. I'm trying. I'm really trying. But I also want to just pick up an axe and walk into the woods and start cutting timber because it's the only option I have right now.